Oh, hey, buddy! It's your old pal Scott, and this is Let's Talk Tabletop. I'm sure you've all heard of solo gaming, where someone will play a board game or a miniatures game by themselves. In a miniatures game, you would play the opponent's force, and you'd play your force as well, and you try to have a normal game, trying to outthink yourself and whatever. But there's one aspect to it that a lot of people don't ever talk about. And I've done a lot of solo gaming in my life, and the main point I want to get across is that it's selfish. Let's dive into it. So yeah, solo gaming is selfish. I have to admit it. And you know what? I love it for it. Solo gaming is a unique way of playing a game, and many of you have probably never tried it, or if you have, it was just briefly, because the percentage of solo gamers seems to be definitely the minority in wargaming. Now, board gaming is a little more solo game friendly, but with wargaming, there's a lot of things to think about, like the deployment of the units and what exactly everyone's going to do each turn and things like that. And some people have a struggle with it. But not I, said the cat. I love solo gaming, and I'm going to tell you why. Solo gaming is selfish. I can play whenever I want, with whatever forces I want, with whatever mission I want, and it's fantastic. If I want to stop my game right here and walk away for a month, doesn't matter. If I want to wake up at 2 in the morning and play a game, doesn't matter. Because I don't have to arrange with someone else. I don't have to make sure we're playing the same game system. I don't have to make sure we agree on points. I gotta make sure that we want to make sure that we're not doing something really cheesy or something like that. And it is great fun. It's nice to grab your favorite drink, alcoholic or otherwise. Coffee is my go-to. And you come out and you just play. And you imagine everything. You can really try unique different lists that other people might have a problem with. And that's another issue, is that you don't have to worry about what you're bringing is cheesy or not. Whatever you think is good in wargaming. It doesn't matter whether you're really casual and fluffy or you're super competitive. Just bring that on both sides and you're going to have a good time because you don't have to worry about the other person's experience. And that is a big thing that gets overlooked in wargaming is your opponent's experience. You want to make sure you don't stomp them or you're a bad sport or any of that. So, this is the perfect solution to that. It's you play by yourself and you do it on your own terms, at your own time, at your leisure, and you come back to it whenever you feel like it, as long as you got the space for it to sit out. And it is very, very fun. Now, don't get me wrong. I love wargaming as a social thing, and that's the whole reason why I got into wargaming was to make new friends and have a whole new group of friends. The whole reason why I wargame every week, even when I don't feel like going to the club sometimes, is because I want to see my friends. I want to see these people. And I got to tell you, no matter how often I go there after work to play at the club once a week, and I'm exhausted and I'm tired and I don't feel like it, and on the way there I carpool with my friend James, and I'm like, oh, I don't feel like going tonight. But I never, ever go away from the club having regretted it. Ever. I always am like, man, I'm in such a better mood now. I feel refreshed because I got to hang out with my friends. So don't think that I'm saying that I don't enjoy the social aspect because that's the main reason why I do it. But there is just something special about playing a game that's entirely yours. You can mess with the force organization rules, or you can bring wacky lists, or you can play test things. If you got two different armies that you want to play for a tournament and you don't know which one, well, why don't you make a tournament list for both of them, run a tournament mission, and you can play test them by yourself. No scheduling issues, no other person issues, none of that. And solo gaming is really fantastic. Now, some people that are new to solo gaming have some issues with it, and I completely understand why. My background in game design with Brutality, Skirmish, Wargame, Brutal Space, Brutal Epic, Mass Brutality, all of that, is that I immediately am prone to tweaking rules. You know what? Let's change deployment. Oh, let's change this. Let's add another unit. Oh, you get 20% more points, etc., etc. I'm just prone to doing that, and I'm not afraid to do it. But a lot of people that are not game design oriented and they want to try solo gaming, they don't know what to do and they think they need like an AI logic chart where like, oh, if then whatever, if you're near the objective, then you activate it or whatever. They think they need something to run their list for the enemy. And that's just not the case. Now, being a lifelong solo gamer, I've got one trick that will help you solo game, and it's super, super simple. You don't need AI logic trees. You don't need anything like that. You don't need special rules for the enemies or anything to make it an actual challenge for you to play against yourself. The number one rule of solo gaming is that I play on this side of the board when I'm playing my army, and then I walk over to the other side of the table and play that army. And just that walking around the table gives you a completely different perspective. And now you can think, okay, if I was the enemy, what would I do, right? That's just the basics of solo gaming. But if you want it to be super simple but still a challenge, give your entire enemy side +1 save. Just +1 save. If they're normally a 4 up, make them a 3 up, etc., etc. If your game doesn't use save values, you may want to add like 1 hit point to every unit. And what that does is that just nudges it in the opponent's favor. So if you're AP 1, it's going to basically be ignoring you. It's basically giving cover to the entire army. And yes, if you are playing against Space Marines and they have a 3-up save, well, guess what? Now they have a 2-up save. And I got to tell you, that's going to make Space Marines way more durable. So that is the simplest way to make sure that your game is still a challenge for you, because you know your opponent's thoughts, you know what their strategy is going to be. But what you should do is try to break off your brain and go, okay, I'm playing this army. What should I do to try to win? And then shut that off, walk over and open up and not think about you, think about your opponent and go, okay, what would really bother me right now? What would I be thinking when I'm on this side of the table? Oh man, I hope he doesn't go after this unit, etc., etc. The cool thing about solo gaming is that your opponent knows your fears. They know your strategy. And what better opponent than yourself? It's really, really fun, and just giving your opponent +1 save is all you got to do. It's that simple. I really think you should try it. Are there any solo gamers out there? Any of you guys ever tried solo gaming? How did it work for you? Did you enjoy it? Did you hate it? A lot of people find it boring, but most of the people I talk to that say solo gaming is boring have never tried it. Or maybe tried it one time, but they didn't like it and they didn't know how to do it and it was confusing to them. There's different types of gamers out there, and some of them, like me, have no issue with tweaking rules immediately. There's a well-known thing in my family that I have pretty much never played a board game by the actual rules. Or maybe I have one time. And then I see the things in the rules that I think don't need to be there, or they're extraneous, or whatever, and I just cut them out. And every one of the board games that me and my family plays, there's a lined sheet of paper in there of house rules. Ignore this rule, add this, roll a d6, whatever. And basically every game that we play is way more fun to the family because I altered it to just make it succinct and boil it down to the fun parts. It sounds weird. I'm sure most of you haven't done that, but I know some other game designers, and many of them also do that or have done that in the past, which is just weird. Some people have no issue with getting into the guts of mechanics and changing them, and other people are a little more hesitant. But that's okay, and you should definitely try solo gaming. It is very selfish. Everything is on your terms, but it's awesome. Anyway, thank you to all my beautiful, sexy, good-smelling Patreon patrons. And I'd like to do a special thank you to Mike up there, who's been the leader of the Patreon for many years, along with Grendel. Anyway, I'll see you next week, and thank you for tuning in. And let me know, have you ever tried solo gaming? And let me know if you tried just the +1 save rule. It will change your game and make it a lot more fun.